Get this, the Flat Earth International Conference.
There's Patricia.
I'm so excited, like Christmas Eve.
Guess you need it. Ride it like the dead horse it is. Make believe you still got it. Forget it. I remember.
Putting that on Facebook.
Yeah, like later. I'm on a block right now, 30-day block. Thanks.
Still can't believe all this is really happening.
Oh my gosh. Right on, man. Keep flat. You know, there's only a couple people that have the blackout shirts. Yeah. Of course, I was there.
You're flat. You're hot potato.
That's me.
This is Hollywood for her.
Well, in a way, for me too.
Are we twinkling? There we go. I drove 1,150 miles yesterday, so...
I traveled from Ireland then to Iceland.
Oh, you came even further.
Hello, Bob. How are you? Hug or handshake or how about both? This room is big. What if I trip when I walk up there? You know, like something like that. I know. Used to the safety of you two.
Hey, is Mark here?
He's busy being Mark Sargent.
Sweet. Look, I got my...
I have one too. I didn't put it on. What does it say?
Well, why would you put it on? It's not fashionable. You changed outfits, obviously.
Hey, pleasure. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
I'm excited. I'm really excited. Hoping we can fill the place.
I think ODD is really regretting. And I told him, I go, the idea of Mark and Patricia as operatives is laughable. I mean, and nothing against you. I'm just saying, that's so
I get
ridiculous.
it.
You know,
It's like, come on, man. I still don't believe it.
Hello. Anybody going to the Flat Earth Conference? Okay, first off, they're not at a real Flat Earth Conference. That's more a military play using Hollywood assets, which explains why Dennis Luca, who's playing the character Mark Sargent, owned by Joe Reel or Ralph Reel, if that's his real name, has access to interview people in the Air Force and the military.
So it's like, so you think I'm a guy named Joe or a guy named Dennis?
I said, look, I checked out Mark Sargent. I did the forensic analysis of it. I'm telling you, what Mark is saying is true.
Now the sad part of this is that a lot of people bought a ticket, and they said there's no refunds. So if I were to put out a video exposing Mark Sargent, well, they keep the money. Now you're probably too scared to go.
It's a lot of people not to come, and I'm like, usually, you know, because they understand they're not going to refund.
Right.
It's money out the window. They're all excited. I was just like, maybe he's at a point. Maybe this is a setup, and maybe we have to be careful.
But I've been saying this for, I don't know, like since this guy showed up.
People say, because of you, I'm not going. Or because of Patricia, I'm not going.
I couldn't believe the amount of people that came to me, and they're just like, I'm in line with him. I'm going to take that stand.
I just let you call me delusional. I let you call me crazy. Why? Because I'm the one who came up with the Flat Earth.
Cryptos Media proudly presents the first annual Flat Earth International Conference.
This is amazing, absolutely amazing. This is a time that we've all been waiting for. This is now becoming something that cannot be ignored. Unfortunately, some people, didn't attend this year. It's okay. Look, we have our differences. We may not agree with one another, and we can choose to get all wrapped on that, or we can sit here and we can be here and we can grow saying, you know what? We all agree we're not on a spinning ball flying through space. This will continue to grow, this will get bigger, and honestly, change the world.
This one right here was number 2. And then this one's number 33. And then the latest one here is this little simple one. This is number 36.
It is a privilege and an honor to bring out Jaron Campanella.
When this all started, I was looking for the truth, you guys know that, and deep down inside, I think everybody knows that it's flat.
This is called the Flat Earth Rider. This is the front brake right here. We turn the brake on, it lights the crystals up. These are models of the flat Earth. And then the latest one was this map circulating around, showing other continents outside of our world.
This is so life-affirming, and I think that this whole event is going to have a healing effect on the whole Flat Earth community.
I really liked that. That was really interesting.
I got like chills from it and was like, yeah.
It's going to be tough to actually see.
No, it's the house lights we're going to bring up.
But don't bring up the light. Don't bring up the lights too far.
Go time.
Mark Sargent's the guy that kicked this off for me.
For me, it was the second video, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate, was the infamous Flat Earth Clues.
I click on that video, and the first words I hear, this is a Reader's Digest version of the Flat Earth Theory and some of the more interesting topics.
I hear a lot of things about Mark Sargent, but one thing I can say is that Mark Sargent is one of the hardest workers in Flat Earth.
Thank you. Thank you. Love you. Love you. And I'm trying not to get emotional here because it's such a great, amazing thing to see everybody. I love the Flat Earth community. That's no lie. I love you, excited person over there. But let me be clear. I am not the father of Flat Earth, all right? All I did was walk up to a door that was already there, point at it, and say, hey, I think there's something very interesting on the other side. Right? And all you crazy people, you had to poke your head inside and take a look around. Now, here we are, 2 years later. You've taken this further than I ever would have hoped. For that, I'd like to give you my deepest and most sincere thank you. So, microphones, questions.
How long do you think it will take for this to be taught alongside the globe Earth?
I think we're almost at the critical mass point, and the media here proves that.
Within the CIA, who actually implanted you within the community? Just kidding.
Who is behind propagating the globalist lie? Is it the US government? Are other governments in collusion?
Yes, yes, and yes. All those things. All of the above. You, go.
I was wondering, how high do you think the dome is?
How old are you?
12.
Good for you. Thank you, by the way, and thank you for coming. Did you come here with your parents? Did you sneak out of school? How'd you get here?
I came here with my parents.
Right on. Where are your parents?
Right over there.
Thank you, guys. And that will seg me into my letter I was going to read you guys. Mark, my grandkids are 12, 10, and 8 years old and are all third-generation flat earthers. You convinced me nearly 2 years ago. I passed it on to my kids, and together we pass it on to my grandchildren.
So flat earthers, pretty innocuous, right?
And people can believe what they want.
It's a little bit funny, even if you don't spend too much time thinking about it.
When their science teacher was telling the kids the Earth spins at 1,000 miles an hour and goes around the sun, the class erupted, with about a third of the class saying, no, it doesn't.
But the problem is that this isn't a phenomenon restricted to flat earthers.
They try to make other people believe it, and then those people take it a step further and then just kind of, discount all kinds of scientific principles.
Long live flat Earth. Cool.
Thank you.
Hey, very welcome, man.
What is it that you want them to take away?
Question everything. Don't assume anything when it comes to what you're told. If you're wrong about this, what else do you want to, revisit? Evolution, the Big Bang?
It runs the gamut from people that are anti-vaxxers.
Denial of evolution, because it conflicts with the Bible, for example.
And all of a sudden you get people that maybe work in our government that don't believe what 97% of all climate experts say.
And so they're making uninformed or poorly informed decisions. And that affects all of us.
Especially with social media now. There's a lot of information out there. And I know YouTube, they'll say YouTube is full of rabbit holes that don't go anywhere.
Land of right now, everybody's like fake news, fake news.
Fake news, fake news. Yeah, of course.
If you have a growing section of the population that doesn't know how to think critically and doesn't know how to evaluate expert resources, they're going to be very easy to manipulate.
Why not like raise the money and like do an exploration and find the edge of the earth?
Oh, spoilers. We have acquired funding. It was only a matter of time before we were going to get money, so now the experiments start ramping up.
Go ahead and roll the video.
Since the late 1800s, science has been shifting from discovery to dogma. It's time for the scientific research field to be unencumbered.
Today we announce the formation of Field Engineers Corps, an international group dedicated to true scientific discovery, free of dogmatic agenda.
This is going to be the chance to do our science and present it to the world. We will experimentally show that there's no curvature to the Earth, there's no forward motion to the Earth, as well as the energy that's coming from the stars and the sky is rotating around this plane at about 15 degrees per hour.
The less plausible your dogma is, the less it meshes with reality, the larger the alternative reality you're going to have to create. All of existence suddenly is through a different lens. I want to believe this doesn't mesh with reality, so don't change my view, change reality.
You know, I do wonder what the motivation is for it. It doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense.
It's their escape. I'm in a room with people that absolutely will not judge me.
So many of you have been through so much pain.
My entire life, I've kind of felt separate, like nothing was quite right.
We never really fit in. We find ourselves to be somewhat isolated. And we want to talk to people about this thing, but nobody wants to talk to us.
In the Truman Show, a big reason why the lead character left when he discovered his entire world was fake was he had nothing to lose. Jim Carrey was inevitably going to leave that place because there was nothing for him inside. Compare that with anyone else. Let's say we'll go to the other end, which would be the mayor of that town. Let's say the mayor of that town got in a sailboat and got out to the edge. The guy's got limos, the guy's got mistresses, he's got money, he's got a pretty cushy life. Does he open the door and face the devil you don't know versus the devil you know? No.
Wouldn't you say, in a sense though, like you're now the mayor of Flat Earth?
Say you lose faith in this thing. What then happens to my personal relationships? And what's the benefit of me of doing that? Will the mainstream people welcome me back? No, they couldn't care less. But have I now lost all my friends in this community? Yes. So suddenly you're doubly isolated.
If I tried to go, there would be so many people. They would come and say, don't do it. And so I couldn't leave if I wanted to.
It becomes a question of identity. Who am I in this world? And I can define myself through this struggle.
This is somewhat of a battle, more or less between good and evil.
We're actually very special, and we start to realize that there is a purpose to our life.
You're a force to be reckoned with, so we need to take you seriously.
Then that makes you the protagonist. And it's very enticing. Once you get into it, it feels great to be the underdog protagonist in a Disney movie. Everything you do is justified. And when people mock you, well, that's because they're evil. When people try to prove you wrong, when they do prove you wrong, you quickly say, well, there you go, there's the evil. You know, no one's Ursula in their own story.
We are changing the world, we are making history.
This is what you've been waiting for.
You're not alone. You're not this little speck of dust flying through space at incredible velocities. You are the center of the universe, as a matter of fact. You are the star of the show.
I think that what flat earthers can offer us is a way to have 99.9% of people say, well, that's ridiculous. Imagine believing that. And then to turn it around and say, how are you a flat earther? Where are you and your people, the protagonist in a Disney movie?